Hey guys, I know I'm out of uniform. Matt and I just got back. It's late. I'm tired. We had a really busy weekend so far. It's St. Dominic's weekend. I know, Greg, the lighting's awful, but I'm like literally right in front of a lamp, so I don't know what it is. It's just my computer. You're gonna have to deal with it. It's gonna be a really quick post. I'm just gonna answer questions. I have a short story and then I'm done. First, yeah, so it's not St. Dominic's weekend. I know we've talked about this. So we've had a bunch of events today. We had them yesterday. Both worked yesterday, so kind of tired. Just want to get let you know how my week was. Actually, there really wasn't anything except for my story. Okay, so Lars, your question: how do you get rid of telemarketers? I actually really don't ever have to deal with them because no one ever knows how to pronounce our last name, and so as soon as I hear, if they answer by the first time I say hello, which almost never happens. And they're like, is Mr. or Mrs. And they burble out some like name. I'm like, no, sorry, I don't live here, and I hang up. That's it. I don't deal with it. Stupid people. Thank you. I know Olivia's adorable, isn't she? Greg, I thought I asked a question. Apparently not. My least two favorite classes, high school and college. I hate science. So it was probably a science class in high school. I can't think of... Mr. Sears was, like, weird and but, like, it wasn't awful, I guess. I can't remember who else I had, though. I had him freshman year after Mr. Ostrander took Mr. Ostrander took Mr. Phillips' place when he took Mr. Farley's place. But then I had him for junior year for chemistry, and I didn't take one senior year. I don't remember who I had. Oh, Ms. Allen. Yep, that'd probably be my least favorite class in high school. The toad salad. Anyway, my least favorite college class. Probably there were a couple that were awful, but there was one that I took first semester last year. It was an African history class. It was like, I can't even remember the title of it. Our professor is from Africa, and he's a nice guy, but he has a wicked thick accent. It's so hard to understand him. And at the beginning, he does this for all his classes. He prints out literally like all the reading he wants you to do. So at least you don't have like a bazillion books. But he prints out a stack of papers this big for each student. And then he charges you $25 for it, which I don't even think is legal. I never even gave him the money for it because I was like, if it was $5, fine. But you're not even like, even if for that class each like thing was as thick as one package of paper is not $25. I'm sorry, it's not. And if you're the idiot that's making all those copies, then you should have to pay for it. That's not my problem that you're stupid. Like, you can put them up on eRes, Matt. Sorry. So if you... Anyway, you get my point. And it was just awful, and I literally think I went to, like, 3 classes the entire semester. I didn't even go... Like, there was... Our final and our midterm were take-home. I didn't even go to the last class of the semester. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't sit... And it was a 2.5-hour class. I couldn't sit through it. He was awful. It was just... the worst class in the world. Happy belated birthday, Greg. I know I wished you happy birthday and on Facebook, but I just wanted to let you know here. Jeff, one subject I could know everything about. History. Hands down. My favorite subject. I would love to know every single thing about it. But I would like that if it took, took years to learn it. Like, by the end of my life, I would, or say it took like 20 years to learn all of it, because I love learning. So, if it took 20 years and then after that I knew everything, it's fine. I'd be happy. I haven't seen Iron Man 2, so I'm sorry I can't answer your question. I know I'm a loser, but Matt and I honestly do not go to the movies that often. And I know it's coming out soon, but, in between the time when it's in the theaters and it comes out on DVD, it's really nowhere to be found, and I hate bootleg copies. Unless they're really good. And I thought the third question was for the Magic 8 Ball, but I didn't really catch it. Sorry, so I'll try to answer it next week, but I have to re-listen to it. So my little story, I was at work on, what day was that? Was that Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was at work on Wednesday, and I had gotten there for 6 in the morning, I think. Was that? Did I get there for 6 or did I get there for 8?
8.
Okay, so I went there for 8. And I had to, the store opens at 10. The whole mall opens at 10. So anyway, opens at 10. And I was working until 3:45? 1:40? I don't know. I was working until sometime later in the day. So, I think I was working until 1:45. But anyway, like, I digress. I sound really stupid. Like, I digress. Anyway. So, anyway, no. Anyway, it was literally, like half an hour before I was supposed to punch out for my shift, like, before my shift ended. And I had this lady come in, and we do in-store, like, you can order stuff online, and then, obviously, but you can return it in-store, unless it's an online exclusive, but most of the stuff is, you can return it in-store. This woman had a receipt from the online, and granted, like, they're only, like, the actual, like, list is only this big, but it's, like, you can fit, like, 10 or 12 items on each of those sheets, that little sheet. She had 3 of those, and she was returning everything but 2 items that she had. So, I went through the return, and then, she had come in with an attitude, and she was like, I always have a problem in this store. And I was like, okay, like when she returns online things. Well, obviously you always have a problem because you fucking bring in 30,000 items and you expect it to be right. Like, it's really, there's no way to, like, it doesn't give you an item count of how many you've returned. It just tells you the price, and which is, kind of stupid, but whatever. It's like, there's really not much I can do. And she was just, so then the receipt prints out for the return, and she's like, do you have a calculator? And I said no, because we didn't at that cash wrap. We didn't. The only thing I had was my phone, and I'm not allowed to use my phone on the floor. Even if it's for a customer, I think I would get in trouble for using it. I'd get in trouble for having it on the floor, so I'm not going to whip it out. But anyway, so I stood there while she used her phone or whatever to add up all the things that she returned and how much it should have been, and she's like, I'm missing $9. And granted, it's $9, whatever, fine, but she was just a bitch about it. And I was like, okay, so I went through, I personally, and I skipped a shirt when I was returning everything. I didn't realize there was a ton of stuff. She brought in a big paper bag full of stuff. Like, it wasn't just 6 items or something that you can easily count, and but she was just a bitch anyway, so it was just, like, I was already defensive, and she was just being miserable. So I finally, I go through and I double-checked the return receipt against her receipt, and I somehow missed the t-shirt again on the sheet, or I miscounted. The way the receipt prints out if you have an online return, it's really confusing, the way it looks. So I went through and I made check marks, and then, so she's like, no, I'm missing a shirt. So she went through and rechecked it, and she's like, no, right there, see, I'm missing one of these t-shirts. And I was like, okay, fine. And by then, someone had already taken all those returns because we have to reticket them before they go out on the floor. So I had to go back over and get all of the returns. And I went through, and it looked, because all of the things she bought were she bought multiples of everything, and there were a bunch of different colors, but she got everything in purple, everything in turquoise, everything in pink. So it was all the same colors. So I missed it. It was folded in half, and it looked like a pair of leggings. So I brought it back over, and I was like, you didn't return all the shirts. And she's like, no, I did. And she got wicked snotty. So then we go through, and I find it, and I'm like, sorry, I just miscounted. I'm sorry that I completely missed it 3 times, but it's not like I wasn't trying. She reamed me out, and my manager was up there by that time, and she reamed me out, and she was like, it's your attitude, Ashley. And she goes on and on and on, and she started bitching to me. She started bitching about management and how the attitude starts with the management and it trickles down to the sales associates. And I'm like, my manager didn't do anything to you. Why are you being a bitch to her? And she was just, and then when she was like, oh, well, she went through and checked and she missed it somehow. She miscounted. And I was like, she's like, these little neat check marks are mine. She even had to nitpick the way I check marked off her stuff on the goddamn receipt. Really, lady? That's really all you have time for? I was so upset. I have worked for the Gap for 5 years, and I even worked in Westchester, New York, which is they have the richest zip codes in the United States, and I have never felt that shitty about myself ever. No customer has ever made me that mad or that upset. So I get all the stuff. My manager's finishing up the transaction because the woman's being a cunt. Not even like she is a cunt. She's not even a bitch. She is a cunt. And if I ever saw her outside of the store and it was like not gonna get me in trouble, I would tell her to her face, like, you are the biggest cunt in the world and you should die. Seriously, because you're making everybody else's life miserable. Just so you know. So I went back over. I brought all the stuff over so that it could be reticketed. And then I came back and it was literally time for me to punch out. That woman took like at least half an hour, if not more. So I get back over. I was over in kids, I brought the stuff over, and one of the girls was like, are you okay? Because she knew how much of a bitch the woman was being when she was over there at one point. And I just couldn't hold it in. I started crying, and then when you you want to stop crying and you're trying, but you just keep crying anyway, you start crying harder. I don't know if you know that, you guys are all men, but whatever, maybe you do. So that's what was going on, and I couldn't for the life of me, stop crying, and so I was blubbering, being an idiot. So I finally calmed down and I walked back over to where my manager was, ready to get reamed out by her, and I started crying again, and it was just so ridiculous. And oh, hang on one sec. So I can show. So yeah, so that was that. So she made me cry. My manager didn't end up yelling at me. She's like, because one of my other sales associates was like, apparently this woman comes in quite often, and she does the same thing all the time. She's miserable. She comes in with an attitude. She always has a problem. And honestly, there's a simple way to solve this. You don't get that many things online and then expect someone to not mess up. Or you come in with, I'm returning this many items, it should be this total. Don't wait until you're in there. There were ways that we could have all solved this. Alright, I really want to show you our kittens. Matt's really bad at getting them to come near him, so I'm going to have Matt entertain you for 2 seconds, one of them is in the litter box, so I'll probably only bring one over, because that's kind of gross, but, sit, hurry up. This is already 12 minutes long, and I said it was going to be a short post. Okay, Matt's entertaining you for just a second.
She really doesn't have any concept of time.
No, I don't. I thought it would be a short post, but I was only... It's just that bitch,
Yeah, that's how I feel every day. That's what she does to me. She explains everything, so... Yeah, I don't know. Right now I'm just watching the local news, waiting for SNL to start. A pretty good opener, so we'll see how the season goes. Tonight we were at Providence College. It was our St. Dominic weekend. Basically, it recognizes everyone who gives money back to the college. So that's really what it was. Highlight of the night, we got to listen to John O'Hurley speak. If you've never heard of him, if you ever are a Seinfeld fan, look for Jay Peterman, and that's John O'Hurley. He's also been on Dancing with the Stars, and he now hosts Family Feud. That's correct.
Before this goes really, really, really long, meet Lilo, the gray one, and Stitch. There we go, Stitch. The Siamese looking one. They're sisters, and then our new eight-week-old kittens. Aren't they just so cute? Don't you just want to squeeze them? Okay, I'll let them go now. Okay. Yeah, so before this goes way over, I'll see you guys next week. I promise to be in uniform. Alright, bye.